Give us 60 minutes and we'll give you Nelson Radio every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on KTLK AM 1150. With 29 years in the mortgage business and an array of top-level guests visiting the show, Nelson is in a unique position to bring you cutting-edge information on real estate, business, finance, and law. If you have any questions for Nelson or any of his guests, give him a call at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or check him out online at nelsonradio.com.
Nelson Radio.
You're listening to Nelson Radio, and we've been talking about values throughout our show. This segment brought to you by our law partner, the Law Office of Michael L. Feld, one of Orange County's top 5 criminal defense experts. Click or call us at nelsonradio.com or 888-888-2136. We have, obviously, the staggering statistics coming out of these conflicts. Military conflicts, as we broadcast here from the Lion Air Museum, surrounded by the vintage aircraft of World War II through the Korean War. It's a very graphic reminder of what people do and what they're exposed to in protecting our freedom and representing us with all of the branches of the military. And I'm excited to introduce Jack Chirrick and Amy Palmer from Operation Homefront and help us understand a little bit more about their efforts to help our vets. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Jack and Amy, welcome to the program. So glad to have you guys here. So we've been talking about values. Operation Homefront's website has a quote, "Even heroes need some help." Our service members and their families are heroes to us. Some are everyday heroes and some are uncommon ones. Most would not consider themselves heroes. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, I was in the service for 21 years, and I think you get that a lot. I mean, you see that, amongst the Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard. I mean, when we all go out there, and, I wouldn't say that's just a job. It's definitely more than that. It's a commitment to country, and most see it as, a duty. So you don't really see a whole lot of people really kind of walking out of that environment feeling like heroes. But I'll tell you, it's the common courage every day to go out and do what the military does that really makes all the difference. They deploy into arduous conditions and do hard jobs over long hours, over long periods of time. We have the term, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365, and that's how your military is supporting us all every single day, every single hour.
Yeah, there's just not Hallmark holidays recognized when you're in the military conflict. I mean, that trivializes it, but I mean, it's just, there is no relief.
No, I mean, and that's true. I mean, I can tell you from personal experience that I missed a few holidays myself, and there are definitely a few who do, and they make that sacrifice on behalf of all of us, and that sacrifice in and of itself makes them heroes in our eyes.
I want to talk a little bit about the vets that are coming back, and I know one facet of Operation Homefront is the Operation Homefront Village, providing transitional housing, and I just wanted to hear from you what transitional means to the returning vet. It's not just coming home, unpacking their duffel bag, and plugging into their new career before they're redeployed. What's it like?
Well, for a lot of the service members, like Guard and Reservists, a lot of them go back to their regular employment. Some of them come back and their employment doesn't exist anymore. So the transition is different depending on the service. For active duty service members, most of the ones that we see for the transitional housing facility are wounded, ill, or injured service members who are transitioning out of the service. So the military has determined they're no longer fit for duty, and they're in the process of transitioning out of the service. We actually have one of our transitional housing facilities right here in Oceanside, and we serve families that are stationed here at Balboa and Camp Pendleton and are transitioning out of the service. One of the things with the transition is they go through a med board process that determines the level of disability that they have, and they get rated for that disability. So they may be living on 50% of what they're used to living on, 60%, depending on what that rating comes back. So the transitional process for us is really teaching them to live on a new income with new ways of doing business, with new dynamics in their family, and we help them get those benefits in place so that they are set to transition out of that into a permanent housing environment.
Jack, I heard certain families can apply for the homes on the Homefront. It's a great collaboration with Wells Fargo, B of A, Chase. turning something negative into something good. Can you give some more details on that project?
Yeah, the Homes on Homefront program was something that we just started with Chase last year. And initially we had, got on with Chase to get 150 homes that we would actually bring into the program. We would identify veterans that would be a good fit in each of those communities, and then we would transition them into that. And, we really kind of see that as our overall long-term solution to what we're facing here. You talk about these individuals, getting out of the military service. Amy mentioned, you're looking at some of them living on 30%, 20% of the income that they were originally drawing. And keep in mind, that's base pay. There's a lot of specialty pays that service member receives, and base pay oftentimes is really about 50% of that. So you're looking at about 50% of 50% in some cases. So for us to be able to help them reintegrate into a community where they have a support network, mom, dad, aunts, uncle, that kind of thing, helps them, create a sustainable environment that, really kind of gets them back up on their feet and moving forward.
And with that in mind, and this is the tease that I mentioned earlier in our program in terms of what happens with that home in the Homefront campaign with the families that are returning, the war veterans that are returning. They have a grace period, I'll use as a lack of a better description, where they're required to meet the expenses of maintenance, insurance, and taxes on that home for a period of time. But then at the end of that grace period, what happens?
Well, that's the great thing about the program. When we created the program, we put in place opportunity for us to work with those families for a period of 1 to 2 years before they actually get the home deeded to them. So we have a team of social workers, and one social worker is assigned to each property, and a financial planner. So the families have to go through financial planning process. They have to work with their social worker to ensure that they're integrated into the community, that they have access to the resources, and that they learn about what it means to be a homeowner. A lot of the families have never had a situation where they've owned a property, and so it's a learning curve for them. And some of them, because of their injuries, they have to be retaught some of those lessons. So our social workers work with them for a period of time before we even consider deeding the home to them. Once they've actually completed that program, we do go through the process to deed the home to the family mortgage-free.
Mortgage-free, free and clear.
Where do our listeners go to donate to the cause, to the program?
Yeah, well, here locally in California, you can go to our website, www.operationhomefront.net, and then /California. You can also donate nationally to www.operationhomefront.net. We're also, located, here down in San Diego off of Miramar Mall. But if you go to our website, you can kind of see where we are. People are more than welcome to come down, visit us, see what we do. Me personally, I'd be happy to talk to any of them if they're actually interested in, getting behind the cause and supporting us. There's lots of opportunities out there.
Yeah, Jack, Amy, thanks for being with us, and I appreciate the effort, obviously, Operation Homefront, and the fact that these wounded veterans that are coming back, their life does take reintegration. And I read the story, the testimony on your web platform about Cheryl Ganser and the blog that she has. Her husband was exposed to an IED blasted through his body. He's gone through 16 surgeries from returning from active duty, and this is ongoing 7 years after his return, and still has surgeries in front of him. So it's not over just by bringing these veterans back, and fabulous effort. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us on board.
Stay with us. We're going to be moving into Coach's Corner with mental coach Dave Austin with Extreme Focus. This segment presented by our law office partner, the Law Office of Michael L. Fell, one of Orange County's top 5 criminal defense experts. Click or call NelsonRadio.com or 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. We'll be right back with Coach's Corner.
Nelson is a licensed lender under the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 331060.
This is Nelson from Nelson Radio, and it's important that we talk about a very serious issue. We had bad lending practices that led to the mortgage meltdown, but now we've got the challenge of deplorable customer service coming out of the meltdown. Bottom line, getting a new loan can be like pulling teeth without Novocaine. I've got the solution. Academy Mortgage and my team are injecting into the industry real performance and real accountability. Here are the facts. Appraisals in less than a week. Rate guarantees that can improve if the market goes down. Purchase transactions with our market-exclusive close-on-time guarantees and refinance transactions in as little as 30 days. Who would have thunk? Guaranteed rates and guaranteed performance from your mortgage lender. Call me, Nelson, an accountable loan expert for nearly 3 decades, direct at 888-888-2136. That's Nelson at 888-888-2136, 888-888-2136, or at strongcreditrewards.com.